Step out of your box every Tuesday night on Awakening Code Radio, right here on KX 93.5, Laguna's only FM radio station.
We're talking along those lines here with the Love Mob, that the lines go down, the boxes go away, the labels are put back where they never should have been in the first place, and we're reawakening to what we are as a species on this planet, really capable of such grand things. I mean, compassion and acts of kindness, and gathering around. Preston talked about what 9/11 did to us in our country, that for months afterwards, there was just this gathering together, the support, this shared pain. It really did wake us up to what we could be. And then, of course, it happens. That's a big macro picture. But on a micro level, the same thing can happen to us. We can go and something jars us. We get shooken up and we're so appreciative for life, and I'm never going to take you for granted again. And then for whatever reason, the way the machine works, the industry, the consumerism, the need for money and all those things start just creeping back into your consciousness, and you lose that majestic voice that's guiding you in your heart, to go out and do those things. That's why we have this show once a week. To me, it could be every day. That you need to be, I need to be, we all need to be reminded of what we're really here on this planet to do. And it is not to make more money and buy more junk to throw away.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's what December 14th is really about. I mean, it's a celebration of life, but it's also like, hey, just stop. Just for a second, we don't need that new flat screen TV. I mean, it'll make your life a little bit more comfortable, but what is most important is our connection. So that's why that's the major impetus for just getting together. People say, well, why do you want to just get a bunch of people together and sing? It's just a reminder.
Right.
Because that's the thing. It's like, and if we're not careful, but it slips away and we don't stay in that state of consciousness that really just keeps us tuned in to what matters. So, the hand that hands the rose always smells like the rose. So I try to hand the rose as much as possible.
This whole process for us has been huge for dreaming and possibility and just the magic that showed up. So many yeses just coming out of the community, and so many blessings and gifts in the form of people that we never knew existed is just so gorgeous. So for anybody who's out there who's considering starting something like this in your area, you'll be shocked at how many people are there with ready energy to assist in your process.
I believe that. I believe it because I know it. I've been participating in something like that. On the mics right now with Alice and Preston and Mustafa from Los Angeles, and they just sort of formed an ad hoc group, not too tight on putting labels on the hierarchy or the organization part, but it's called the Love Mob. And it's a very organic, to me, feeling of putting action into their inspiration. And it's great to talk to you tonight. I mean, so much of Laguna residents are doing what you do. I mentioned this Transition Laguna. Just like it, Love Mob, it started in Europe. There's this transition where it's helping people to live off the grid a little bit. Like if all the wheels fall off, that you know how to grow food and build things, which we're getting very disconnected from. So Transition Laguna is part of a bigger transition movement. And I know you can go to Transition Laguna either on Facebook. They have their own page. But it's the same thing. You can set the seeds up. I think there's one in San Diego as well. So these types of movements now are flowering, and social media is the thing that's kind of the engine behind it.
We also want to point out that this next mob, the big one, the One Giant Mob, is on Facebook right now. And one of the things that we're organizing is every organization we can that's in California area to come together to make a statement. So this is not necessarily a LA thing as much as it is a human thing.
Exactly.
And if you're within, 50 miles.
It's an LA thing because you happen to be in LA.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. It's an everywhere thing.
We live by the creed that love will find a way. Everything else will find an excuse. So we find a way.
Yeah. And it's true. We make up a lot of excuses.
Oh, yeah.
We fall back on a story of pain, of all the reasons why we can't be in love. We create such a web for ourselves, and I really don't know why. It's one of those just social conditions that maybe we see on TV. We see that there's drama in pain, or something that makes us feel alive in gossip and drama and being uncomfortable and out of balance. And we see it. It's what makes an interesting television show, but doesn't necessarily, and it makes an interesting life, but it doesn't make necessarily a very, very pleasurable, enjoyable life. And we just want to move into that. That's what we talk about just over and over and over again, is the awakening. What are we awakening to? And really the final word you could say is love. I mean, that's above, at the top of the pyramid. There's a bunch of other things that fill in underneath it. But the ultimate vibration, the highest frequency that I think we can vibrate with is love, and let everything else let that be the umbrella, and everything else sort of underneath it. And then you have compassion, kindness, forgiveness, all these things, but you're flexing your love muscle first. And it's amazing. I've done energy work for 20 years, and a lot of times we just call it sort of a reboot system when someone's laying on a therapy table. And we talk about, you have this part of you. There's a part of you that only knows how to do one thing. Your heart space is a love pump. And you can listen to it, you can let it do what it does, or you cannot. You can choose to not. But what an amazing thing when you feel it actually online inside of you, that there's a part of you that says, I love, and it doesn't have the conditions behind it. It just says, I love, I love, I love, I love, I love, I love. So you bring up all your stories, but what about that person over there? You know what he did to me. I love. This. I love they fired me for no good reason. Love. I love. And you just when you feel that, truly, when you get to that point where you feel that, I have cancer, and it doesn't change the voice inside your heart that says, I love. If you're going to ask me, that's all I can tell you back.
Yes.
And that we have something like that inside of us that wants it and wants to express it is a miracle to me. And, it's like this human condition that takes us out of the realm of the animal kingdom and makes us something truly unique. And that's the thing that makes us unique, is our capability to love and align ourselves with this frequency and vibration of what love really is.
Awakening Code Radio is available on podcast. Visit www.kx935.com. Click podcast, then scroll to Awakening Code's previous shows.